Hey everyone, today I want to talk about the verse that speaks of 10 men grabbing a hold of the hem of a Jew, as some people seem to think that this verse suggests that we are to convert to Judaism. But is that what this verse really means? Let's look into it. Shalom everybody, and welcome to Beit Tefillah. I'm sure a lot of people remember this verse from Zechariah 8:23, which states, "Thus said Yehovah of hosts, in those days 10 men from all languages of the nations take hold, yea, they shall take hold of the hem of a garment of a man, a Yehudite, or a Jew, saying, Let us go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you." So do people think that this is actually going to be a literal event, that there will be 10 men from all nations actually grabbing the hems of Jews? Or is this just an illustration of a future event? Let's examine this for a minute, and we're going to discover something interesting and profound that may not be immediately apparent. Now we know that the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, along with some of the Levites, returned to the land after their captivity in Babylon many years ago, and they all came together using the name of Judah, which is where we get the term Jew. The other 10 northern tribes of Yisra'el or Ephraim were forcibly scattered by Assyria, eventually lost their identity, and are still dispersed worldwide today. The Jews brought back the Tanakh with them out of their exile, and if it weren't for them doing this, we may not have it as we know it today. So we are very grateful that the Jewish people preserved it as they did. And as we go down, after their years of return from their exile, we can see that it was only the Jews that was keeping the Torah, which includes keeping the Sabbath and the scriptural feasts. Nobody else besides the Jews were keeping them, and that's why those things were labeled as Jewish. Now, many of us have left churchianity and its pagan holidays for the feast days. When we began keeping the Sabbath and the Torah to the best of our ability, people asked us if we were Jewish now. So this way of thinking persists even today. Let's read that passage again from Zechariah 8:23. "Thus says Yehovah of hosts, in those days 10 men from all languages of the nations take hold. Yea, they shall take hold of the hem of a garment of a man, a Yehudite, saying, Let us go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you." So let me ask, what does the hem, the fringes, or the tzitzit represent? Numbers 15:38-39. "Speak to the children of Yisra'el, and you shall say to them to make tzitzit on the corners of their garments throughout their generations, and put a blue cord in the tzitzit of the corners. And it shall be to you for a tzitzit, or a fringe, or a hem, and you shall see it, and shall remember all the commands of Yehovah, and shall do them." They are there for us to remember the commands of Elohim, so we do them, right? And the Jews were the only ones keeping the Torah commands when the rest of the nations of the world discarded them in favor of their pagan religions. So whomever wanted to truly draw near to Elohim would need the Torah that contains these Torah commands that was brought out of captivity by the Jewish people. Now let's hear what's recorded 10 verses earlier in this chapter in Zechariah 8:13, which states, "And it shall be, as you were a curse among the Gentiles, O house of Judah and house of Yisrael, so I shall save you, and you shall be a blessing." The house of Judah and the house of Yisrael, all 12 tribes. Notice that Elohim said in verse 23 of Zechariah chapter 8, 10 men from all languages of the nations will take hold. All languages of the nations, all languages. From wherever those from the 10 tribes have been scattered, which we know will be gathered from the 4 corners of the earth. They have been scattered and will be regathered by Elohim from all of the nations and will speak all of the languages. So can we understand what this means? The 10 men that will be grabbing the hem of the Jews are the 10 scattered tribes of the northern kingdom that take hold of the Torah that was preserved by brother Judah. The following was written in Ezekiel 37:19-22. "Thus said the Master Yehovah, See, I am taking the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Yisra'el his companions, and I shall give them unto him with the stick of Yehudah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. And the sticks on which you write shall be in your hand before their eyes. And speak to them, Thus said the Master Yehovah, See, I am taking the children of Yisra'el from among the Gentiles wherever they have gone, and shall gather them from all around, and I shall bring them into their land. And I shall make them one nation in the land and on the mountains of Yisrael. And one king shall be king over them all, and let them no longer be two nations, and let them no longer be divided into two kingdoms. So the two kingdoms of Ephraim and Judah will be united together in the taking hold of Elohim's Torah covenant. This is starting to happen today. Not that there's not some differences, disagreements, and issues between Ephraim and Judah, but we are seeing this huge awakening as Ephraim streams out of the churches and away from their messianic idolatry and pagan customs that they were immersed in for so long. You know, we are living in such an amazing time to be able to witness this happening today. And I've heard where some people quoted Zechariah 8:23, where it talks about 10 men from all languages of the nations grabbing hold of the garment of a Jew, saying, Take us with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you. And they have said, See, that means we're to convert to Judaism. But that's not what it said at all. So let's read Ezekiel 37 again, this time starting a few verses earlier, from Ezekiel 37:16-19. And you, son of man, take a stick for yourself and write on it, for Yehudah and for the children of Yisrael his companions. Then take another stick and write on it, for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Yisrael his companions. Then bring them together for yourself into one stick, and they shall become one in your hand. And when the children of your people speak to you, saying, Won't you show us what you mean by these? Say to them, Thus says the Master Yehovah, See, I am taking the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Yisrael his companions. And I shall give them unto him with the stick of Yehudah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. So we are to become Yisra'el. Where did it state that we need to graft into the tribe of Judah? There's Ephraim and there's Judah. It doesn't say that Ephraim will need to merge with and become part of Judah. Elohim's doing makes us one. We don't do it ourselves by converting to a specific tribe. Yisra'el is the name of Elohim's covenanted people, not the name of a tribe. Judah is one of 12 tribes named from the 12 sons of Jacob, who was renamed Yisrael. Ezekiel 37:21. And speak to them, Thus says the Master Yehovah, See, I am taking the children of Yisrael from among the Gentiles wherever they have gone, and shall gather them from all around, and I shall bring them into their land. This is Elohim describing how he's going to take the children of Israel out of the nations or people translated into Gentiles, and he will regather us. I want to stop here and say that I am part Jewish on my mother's side, so going forward here, let me say that I'm not trying to sound anti-Semitic when I am Semitic. We know that Ephraim has been messed up for a very long time, being scattered all over the place, being in strange religions, in idolatry, agnostic, or even atheistic. But we also know that our brother Judah hasn't been doing everything correctly either. It's very sad when I hear about people leaving the Christian church and messianic idolatry only to get mixed up into something called the Noahide laws that are taught by some in Judaism. According to the Jewish Talmud, the rabbis agree that the 7 laws were given to the sons of Noah. The Noahide laws state that if someone is a non-Jew, that they are not to keep all points of the Torah, including the Sabbath. That may be what the Talmud says, but that's not what the Torah says. Anyone teaching Noahide speaks against Elohim and the Torah. We know that Elohim is all about balanced scales, as we can read in Proverbs 11:1. A false scale is an abomination to Yehovah, but a perfect weight is his delight. And in Proverbs 16:11, a right scale and balances are of Yehovah. So would an Elohim that loves balanced scales and measures have different rules for different people? Of course not. There is absolutely nothing in the Torah that speaks of Noahide laws. In fact, we hear the opposite. For example, Exodus 12:49, there is one Torah for the native born and for the stranger, or ger, who sojourns among you. Just one. I mean, that's just plain and simple and obvious. Numbers 15:29, there is one Torah, both for him who is native among the children of Yisrael and for the stranger who sojourns in their midst. And this next verse completely demolishes this entire Noahide nonsense from Deuteronomy 31:12. Gather the people together, men and women and children, and your stranger that is within your gates, that they may hear, that they may learn, and fear Yahweh your Elohim, and observe to do all the words of this Torah. The stranger does all the words of the Torah. So this Noahide law of falsehood is 100% anti-Torah. This is per Elohim that I'm reading these commandments, okay? People in the Christian church, they don't keep the Sabbath, so they'll be cut off from Elohim's people. And those in Judaism that promote the Noahides tell the non-Jews that the Sabbath isn't for them either. So by listening to either religion, people will end up being cut off from Elohim's people because they're taught by both that they are to disregard the Sabbath. Also, Christianity doesn't use the name of Yehovah, they use the Lord or God. And Judaism tells us that we're not to use the name, but to say Hashem or Adonai instead. The Tanakh instructs us to love the name of Elohim, to take a hold of his name, swear by and make oaths in his name, and to praise his name. Pretty hard to do that without actually using his name. Elohim's name was in the prophets and kings such as Yeshayahu, Hezekiah, and Eliyahu. Not to mention that the name of Elohim was written and spelled out almost 7,000 times in the Torah and the prophets, so apparently they didn't think there was a problem using the name of Elohim. Do people ever consider that fact? The name of Elohim was gradually removed starting around the 1st or 2nd century BC due to Jewish tradition. Christianity instructs its followers that the Torah is not for them as it was taken out of the way, and those in Judaism that teach the Noahides tell the non-Jews that the Torah is not for them either, that they only need to keep Noahide laws. So these poor people searching for truth that have left the Christian church wind up no better off when they end up becoming a Noahide. It's such a tragedy, and it shouldn't be happening. But it happened before, and Elohim isn't pleased when people invent their own statues that supersede his Torah. 2 Kings 17:18-19. Yahweh was very enraged with Yisra'el and removed them from his presence. None was left but the tribe of Judah alone. Judah also did not guard the commands of Yahweh their Elohim, but walked in the statutes of Yisra'el, which they made. Please understand that I am not lumping all Jewish people into this group, just the ones that promote the anti-Torah Noahides, and also the ones that hold up man-made commandments to the same level as Elohim's commandments that either add to or subtract from the word of Elohim, which is also a commandment not to do. I know many Jewish people that do not believe in the Noahides, for example, and many of them realize that the entire Torah is not limited to just Jews or those in Judaism, but all who wish to be in covenant with Elohim, just as he instructed. I've read the following passage quite a bit in my videos over the past few years, as it tells a story of what we need to do wherever we have been scattered to become Elohim's people. It's in Deuteronomy 30:1-4. And it shall be, when all these words come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you shall bring them back to your heart among all the Gentiles where Yahweh your Elohim drives you, and shall turn back to Yahweh your Elohim and obey his voice according to all that I command you today, with all your heart and with all your being, you and your children, then Yahweh your Elohim shall turn back your captivity and shall have compassion on you, and he shall turn back and gather you from all the people where Yahweh your Elohim has scattered you. If any of you are driven out to the furthest parts under the heavens, from there Yahweh your Elohim does gather you, and from there he does take you. Now let's take note that it's not mentioned in that passage of a need for the people of Elohim to convert to a religion called Judaism. We simply turn back to and obey all the words that Elohim delivered back in that day, then we will be his people. See how simple he made it? We simply need to take hold of his covenant. Let's read Isaiah 56:6-7. Also the sons of the foreigner who join themselves to Yahweh, to serve him and to love the name of Yahweh, to be his servants, all who guard the Sabbath and not profane it, and take hold of my covenant, them I shall bring to my set-apart mountain, and let them rejoice in my house of prayer. Take hold. Take hold of my covenant, says Elohim. To love the name of Yahweh, not Hashem, but the actual name that originally occurred about 7,000 times in the Tanakh. and all of those who guard the Sabbath, and it specifically mentions the foreigner or the stranger, so that completely rules out the Noahide nonsense that the Sabbath is only for the Jews. Take hold. Sound familiar? It's from the Hebrew word chazak, and it's the same word used in this verse for take hold in Zechariah 8:23. Thus said Yehovah of hosts, in those days 10 men from all languages of the nations take hold. Yea, they shall take hold of the hem of a garment of a man, a Jew, saying, let us go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you. And let's not forget that the command to make and wear the fringes of the tzitzit was given because a man was stoned, he was killed for disregarding the Sabbath when he was picking up sticks. We can read in Exodus 35, 1-2. And Moses assembled all the congregation of the children of Yisra'el. He didn't just assemble the tribe of Judah. And he said to them, these are the words which Yehovah has commanded you to do. Work is done for 6 days, but on the 7th day it shall be set apart to you, a Sabbath of rest to Yehovah. Anyone doing work on it is put to death. Anyone. The penalty for breaking Shabbat is not just reserved for those that are Jewish. Let's read Isaiah 11:11-13. And it shall be in that day that Yehovah sets his hand again a second time to recover the remnant of his people who are left, from Ashur and from Mitzrayim and from Pathros and from Cush, from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. And he shall raise a banner for the nations and gather the outcasts of Yisra'el and assemble the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. And the envy of Ephraim shall turn aside and the adversaries of Yehudah be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Yehudah, and Yehudah not trouble Ephraim. When the Torah was reissued to the children of Israel on Mount Sinai, it was the same law, set of instructions, or Torah for all 12 tribes. The tribe of Judah was not singled out as a tribe that had its own Torah, where the other 11 tribes had to do only 7 parts of that. There is no mention in the Torah of anything called Noahides, of anything called Judaism, nor is there mention of any other tribes needing to convert to the tribe of Judah. We are to become Yisra'el. There is balanced scales and one Torah for all who wish to become Elohim's people, and that's in the Torah repeatedly. Isaiah chapter 11 tells us that Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah not trouble Ephraim. And that's a time we are looking very forward to. We all need to come together in love under the term of Elohim's covenant, which is for all of us who wish to become Yisrael. You know, the Jews are wonderful people. They have been persecuted all over the world for a very long time for their defense and adherence to the Torah. They are a brave people that love Elohim and his word. You know, I'm never going to celebrate any Christian holiday again, but I have no problem assembling for any of the scriptural feasts with my brothers and sisters that are Jewish. When Elohim can get together those two sticks, we will be one family, Yisrael, all keeping the same laws, the same ordinances, the same statutes, the same Sabbaths, new moons. Psalms 103, 14-16. For he knows how we are made, he remembers that we are dust. As a flower of the field, so he flourishes, for the wind blows over it, and it is no more, and its place no longer remembers it. Elohim will remember those of us that are his, that are sleeping or will be sleeping in the dust of the earth. He will bring us all together, as promised in Ezekiel 37, and then we will be one people. Until then, we should love each other and live as children of Yisrael, doing the best we can with one Torah for all. Well, I hope this video blessed you. Thanks for watching, everybody, and please sub to our channel if you haven't done so yet. A shout out and a shalom to all my brothers and sisters scattered worldwide in the dispersion. Everybody be blessed and have a wonderful day.